Hello, good afternoon and welcome to my humble model railway, Bedstead Junction. Now this afternoon's running session is going to include a couple of trains, one you've seen before and one which you'll might maybe seen for the first time. This one will also refer to two of my previous videos, so look those up on my channel. That was Hornby train set part 1 and part 2. Now probably the theme of this really ought to be safe from the scrap heap, or at least in this instance safe from the skip. Now if you have not seen my other two videos regarding this railway equipment, it refers to my sister ringing me up on a Sunday afternoon and asking me whether I would like to receive some model railway equipment. Now it had been kept in a shed. Everything was soaking wet because the shed was leaking, and also they were on their way to the recycling dump. So they were going to the recycling dump while they're going via my house basically, and they wanted me to see if there was any of this stuff that I wanted to keep. Now everything came in a large kind of tub, kind of like box thing, and everything was soaking wet. Now what I was able to save in the first instance was this. There we can see it here now in front of us, but yeah, there we go. It's an industrial freight train set. Box was soaking wet, sopping, absolutely sopping. The rolling stock is inside the box at the moment, and then the other train set which I was able to save was this my first train set. Okay, but you're going to see the rolling stock this afternoon just briefly. Now, to give you an idea, I thought I'd only feature one of the two trains because I want to keep this video to a reasonable length, if that's possible. Certainly to a reasonable length by my standards anyway. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put the little train on initially. Now this came with the my first train set one, and it's just that I got two trains on the track, and you've got something to compare the other train with. Now just bear with me just one moment please. Well, now from my first train set, I was able to save this nice little LMS locomotive here. Comes in a lot of Hornby first time train sets. And in fact this one is very similar, if not identical, to the one that's in the Coca-Cola train set. And bear in mind these came from about 2001. And then it came with a nice little grey wagon there. A brown wagon. I don't know about the focusing on here, but we're trying our best with it. Okay, and also this lovely little carriage. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a brake van onto this particular train, and we'll just see this one go round in just a moment. So just bear with me just a few moments. I'm going to go onto the railing ramp there. If you've not seen a railing ramp before, and some people have heard of them, perhaps they've never used them. A lot of people that are on this railway journey are might be beginners, just doing this for the first time, and the Hornby train set would obviously attract somebody who's looking for a way to begin this hobby. So if you just bear with me just one moment, I'm going to have a look and see how the actual stock is set up on the box. Okay, that's fine. Right, just bear with me. And sorry if I jarred the tripod then. It's very, very restricted in this room, as anyone who's seen this room would agree. Now let's have a look and just see. Now we'll get this one underway. Lovely little train set. Now what I've done is I've actually added the brake van for extra realism in this particular one. The brake van did not form part of the set. We're just going to reverse it back now. In fact, what we'll do is we'll take the ramp away just for a moment and we'll have a look at her running round. It's very, very jerky. I've actually oiled this and sort of cleaned it up, but obviously it's suffered many years in a very, very leaky shed. If you just bear with me just for a moment. There we go. So it doesn't run slowly very well at all, unfortunately. As you see, this lovely LMS, and that was safe in the leaky shed. Now what we'll be doing now, we'll be moving on to the the vehicles I wish to feature in my part 3. This is Hornby train set part 3, I'm going to call this. Safe from the scrap heap or safe from the skip. And what we're going to do is we're going to run this one in to one of the sidings. I should really have a good shed up, to be honest, but we're going to focus on the sidings there, and you can see some of the goodies which I've got here as well. So we'll just slow her down now. And we're just going to change the point. There we are. So now we can see if we can run her into the station. Just bear with just a moment. I think one of the platforms is a bit too close to the line. Hold on. There we are. So now we can see we can run her in. Okay, so I just like to run her in pretty quickly. If I try to run her slowly, she's very, very jerky, but bear in mind, like I say, kept in a very, very wet shed. Now what I'm going to do is I've put our raining ramp back, and we can have a look at these vehicles I was able to save. Now just bear with me. Now, the first thing we managed to save is this nice little hunting. It says on there, hunting for coal. If they're hunting for it, they found it. Oh, sorry, poor joke, I know, but there we go. Anyway, it came from a shop called Blewitts in Hale in Cornwall, and this was bought for my nephew for his birthday, and that was in 2002, I believe, maybe in 2004, I'm not sure. But anyway, we were in Hale in Cornwall, staying in a chalet, and we had this train set out. Now that is another one which was bought from Blewitts, the Patent Victoria Stone Company. And there's this plank wagon with a Triumph TR3 for extra interest. Now, as you can see from the boxes are very, very heavily damaged. They were absolutely soaking wet. I managed to retrieve them as best I could. And then we've got this lovely little Hornby 14XX, which we managed to save as well. Our 2026A 14WX GWR locomotive. And we're going to get these out of the boxes now and have a little look at them. Now, with the 14XX, the box was so badly damaged, in fact it was so soaking wet, I had to take the box apart, and I had to reassemble it afterwards to get the locomotive out. There was only one bit of damage on it, You probably won't see, but it's one of the sanding pipes underneath there. One of the sand pipes. You can see one by my thumb there. There should be one on the other side. That's broken, and that was obviously been played with, so you can excuse it of being slightly damaged. But it's a 14XX GWR livery, number 1472, 1472. And we're just going to add a brake van on. This is one from my own personal collection, Bachmann brake van. Just again for realism. I'm just moving the boxes away from the layout, so then we can see this all running. Right, now what we got in the what we got here now is a lovely little Hornby 14XX, as you can see, all saved. This seriously, all the rolling stock you see here, apart from the brake vans, which are my own, would have gone into the skip. Okay, when I actually opened up the boxes to get the things out, even though the boxes were soaking wet, the actual contents were still okay. Now the actual locomotive itself, you can see, still runs. In fact, that was the thing I was worth thinking, would it run, would it go? So off we go. Let's have the right of way. Oh, before we do, let's bring it forward. We've just lost our brake van. Now that's not surprising. The couplings were very, very stiff. If you imagine that they've been in the wet shed for a long time, and the couplings have got very stiff. There we are, now we're on the rails. Okay, so we'll just see now we can get the whole train going. Now, all of these locos that we can see here, that I'm actually safe from the scrap heap, they all ran from the box in one way or another. So you can see our lovely little 14XX coming down the track now. You can see our little Triumph TR3, which is on one of the wagons there as well. So again, what a lovely thing to have received on one's birthday. Now, unfortunately, I don't think that the interest in model railways actually stayed with my nephews, and it may be that the interest may come to them in later life. I mean, certainly it did for me. I didn't start this my model railway obsession, and it is an obsession, until about the year 1999, 2000. No, 1989, sorry. I was about 30 years of age. About 32 years of age when I started my model railway journey. I'm 63 now, so sometimes these dates get muddled up. As you can see, it's running beautifully around the track. And this would have been gone. This would have been put into a skip. You imagine this lovely stuff here. Everything except what you see here, everything except the brake van, would have gone into the skip. Because really it didn't look much. It didn't look like much, this stuff here. Now, I managed to save most of the train sets. Some of the parts are broken, like the controller for the industrial freight train sets are broken. Now, if you can imagine, I mean, these were actually used for freight sometimes. They're mainly known for pulling auto coaches, and an auto coach is where they're designed to run like a kind of a shuttle service, where instead of having to turn the loco round or change ends on the loco, the driver went into a cab on the carriage and drove the actual train that from there, as the engine on the other end ran backwards. Well, that's for another story. But as you can see over in the other siding there, we've got our lovely little my first train set. And in fact, this whole entire layout, most of it came from the attic. In fact, some of my locomotives were kept in the attic for many years, and it was through lack of space more than anything else. And it was the lockdown that got me to bring everything out. So in fact, a lot of the engines and stuff you see me running on my channel are post-lockdown. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can run our 14XX into our mainline station. Okay, really, I mean, obviously it would be running into a goods shed to drop off its goods, but I wanted to let us have a closer look at the train, just to see what I've saved. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put both trains into the main station. I may even move the main station away so we can actually see what's there. So if you just bear with me just one moment. Sorry about the jar of the tripod there. There we are, we're just coming in to the station now. There we are, so that's a good stop. And we'll see now if we can zoom in slightly to have a closer look. As you probably saw from before, I did have some focusing issues with this particular camera, but it seems to be largely cured now by the look of things. There we are. So we got our that's a Bachmann brake van. That was part of my own personal collection. But then we got our wagon there, complete with the TR3. A one plank wagon with Triumph TR3. And unfortunately the box was so heavily damaged we can't see what the number was on there, but you can just about see there. One plank wagon with Triumph TR3. And then the stone wagon, which is the grey wagon there. That was actually in this box. Hornby Railways. There we go, rolling stock first. Now I guess this was meant to be the premium brand. Again, you can see it came from Blewitts of Held in Cornwall. Then probably the most heavily damaged box of them all, the box that the hunting for coal wagon was actually kept in, which is here. Perfect. And then our 14XX, which is just here. Hornby Top Link locomotive, Top Link. So again, that was probably their premium range at the time. Locomotives Top Link from Hornby. And now I will very much enjoy watching these trains go around my track. Something that I managed to save, and I think there's a lot to be said for saving locomotives. And one channel which I would recommend, I think it's called Double O Bill. He actually restores locomotives which are non-working and brings them back to life again. And again, that's another thing which I like to see. Now, if you just bear with me just a moment, we're going to change the points a little, and we're going to be focusing on our, if I can get it focused on there. It takes a while for it to see what it's focusing on. It may not be able to do it. Oh, there we are. We'll focus on it now. That's our little My First Train set with the LMS locomotive. Now then, this one's quite jerky, so we'll have to try our best with it. As you can see, it's jerking away there. It needs to be running at a certain speed before it'll run at all. I've tried to work out what's actually happening with it, but I mean, the quartering looks good, the coupling rods look good, everything looks fine. It may be just that is stiffness in the motor. I mean, being kept all that time in a leaky shed. How would you feel? And away she goes. We'll try and keep focus on as much as possible. And round she comes. Like I said, this is very much like the actual locomotive itself. I think if you look at the new Coca-Cola range, which was Coca-Cola train set, which was launched by Hornby, I think the locomotive looks exactly the same apart from the livery. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to run her in, and maybe we'll have a nice little look at her and just see what we've got. Okay, so just bear with me just one moment. Keep on saying bear with me, but keep on having to stop what I'm doing. Okay, now I'll try not to kick the tripod this time, because I did that each time. It's very, very difficult because there's I'm really sort of there's probably a 2, maybe 3 foot gap max between the edge of this layout and the wall behind me, so very little room for a tripod and me. Just bear with me just a moment. I said bear with me a moment again. Oh dear. Said it again. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can run her into the station now. LMS. As you can see, it's very, very jerky. Very, very jerky. coming into the station, but there we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move the actual station building away, just so we can have a nice look at the train as well. Okay, so there's the brown NMS locomotive. So you've got GWR and an NMS in the same station. That in a way is quite feasible, because certainly in my local Bristol area, Bristol Tempermeads was actually used by both the Great Western. I think the NMS did have running powers into Tempermeads. And then you've got that lovely little passenger coach there as well, which came with it. And then a little brown wagon, a grey wagon. Then I've added the Great Western brake van just for realism at the back. That's from my own collection as well, that one there. And you can see our little our Triumph TR3 there. Brilliant. So I'm going to leave you with this now, and what I'm going to do is we're going to run this out in just a moment, one of these trains, and you can see it go around the track, and then we're going to leave it and bid you farewell. So just bear with me just a moment. Here we go again. Right, so here's our lovely little 14XX leaving the station. Oh, slight focusing issues there. Okay, so now we just go up on there now and just steer upon the signal. And there's our train there, safe from the skip, going around the track. We're going to zoom out just a little now. You can see more of this scene in front of us. There we are. There's our 14XX coming back round again to the signal box. What a lovely sight. Well worth saving. And I want to thank my sister for offering me these lovely locomotive items. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, which I've shot this afternoon, then please click on like, subscribe, and press that bell if you wish to see more videos from me. I'll be trying to make a better job of decorating this layout in the future. I'll be bringing you more interesting trains, hopefully with interesting stories that go with them. Okay, so I'm going to bid you farewell. And thank you very much for watching. Before we go, one last look at our lovely little NMS with the passenger vehicle. And back to our GWR 14XX. There we are. So thank you very much for watching, and bye bye. Thank you.